He was. And would your spouse, seeing everyone else respecting you in this way, think that something was really this horrible? I think a lot of the legal community was stunned. I know that there was stuff with legal lenders, but stuff with like having issues with legal lenders and not paying them back doesn't raise offense the same way his client's not getting paid does. It's like, okay, well, they're still lending him money. At the beginning of this, when I'm cracking through like the legal financing companies, they're like, oh, he was behind, but then we lent him more money. And oh, he was behind. And then he collateralized the house and then we lent him more money. These were people who also respected him and kept lending him tens of millions of dollars over and over and over again. How are his clients supposed to know? And if his clients didn't know until it was too late that he had absconded with their money, I don't know how she would have known. She benefited. Once she did know, the thing that's more damning to me really is once she did know, how she behaved afterwards. That's the part I have a bigger problem with. What she knew before, I'm not sure. She didn't owe a duty to the clients. She didn't owe, she wasn't the lawyer doing this. His brother's getting paid like $40,000 a month out of his law firm. His son-in-law is getting paid out of the law firm. She benefited from money that wasn't hers. Clearly, I didn't know if she knew how much of it wasn't hers. Afterwards, though, the behavior's been rough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a very similar view to you, where a whole backstory of when she found out and all that. But I do think the same thing. So like, right. So do you think that she found out, like, do you think this is a plan hatched by Tom, where he said to her, run, like, this is, you're gonna call you're gonna call Morgan Stewart and Daily Pop, there's gonna announce the divorce, you and I, there will be no burner phone, we're not gonna drive into the woods, we will never speak again. Because I just keep going back to like, and you were a prosecutor, so you know better than me. I feel, because I have friends that were very good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I have friends that were very good friends with Michael Cohen. I have a friend that goes and visits Cohen with his ankle bracelet. Like, I think if like the world is right, I mean, like but I think if I have a friend now that goes and visits Michael Cohen like once, so they're like best friends.
Have to have
right.
Interesting. Right. I mean,
But so I feel like, just in my experience, and I wasn't prosecuting white collar crime, but like when the world is crashing in on you, like in 2016, and then it doesn't, like you think it's coming and it doesn't, you're like, shit, that was a bad 2 weeks, but man, and then it happens again in like, I think when it's coming and it doesn't come, you just think it's never going to come. So I just go back to like, when you say it's time to run, it's almost like always too late. Like, right? Like, what white collar criminal is going to quit before it is actually too late? Because think it's not coming. You think it is, and you're scared and you shit bricks for a week, but then it doesn't come, right?
Right. And that's one of the things, particularly with the feds, is their prosecutions take quite a while to put together. So you will see sometimes the feds do a raid, and we see this a little in the Jen Shaw case, which we can talk about another time, but you see this raid happen 2 years before she gets indicted. So yeah, she knows that people she's working with have been raided and arrested, but it doesn't come for her. And I don't know, because I still don't know with Tom Girardi how much of cognitive issues there were or not. If there weren't cognitive issues, did he see the world starting to collapse? Probably, because the lawsuits started to pick up. Edelson PC wasn't having any of it anymore, and it all started to come together. So right as Erika filed for divorce. But you've heard Jay Edelson in interviews of Edelson PC, who filed the lawsuit in Illinois with regard to with the plane crash victims from the Lion Air crash, saying, hey, we were co-counsel on this. They didn't get paid. And he said that the divorce is what triggered him to go, oh shit, all of the rats are leaving the ship, if you will, and there isn't going to be any money left. And this is a huge problem. So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Erika, the way Erika tells it is, I had to go, and I ran in the middle of the night. But then later in the season, we see her saying, oh, he's calling me every day saying, come back, what's going on? And I don't know if that's bullshit too, saying, oh, he misses me. I don't know. I would love to hear from his kids. Like, do his kids see this as a ploy for them to separate and her to try to get away from the taint of what's going to happen with him so that she can continue to earn an income for the rest of her life? Or do his kids see it as the third wife jumping ship when things got hard? I'm very curious about that. So I really don't know. I keep taking in more information and it keeps changing my mind. because I want to see more information. Like my gut response is like, it could be either. It could really be either.
Those are the two scenarios, right? That he said, here's the plan. I am still the smartest lawyer in the world. And, you know, according to him, obviously, Emily D. Baker is the smartest lawyer in the world.
I'm definitely not the smartest lawyer in the world, but we're savvy as to some things. But it's not uncommon, particularly with white collar defendants, particularly with this personality that is, you know, I'm charming, I'm quick to anger, I know more than everyone, that it's really not until all the walls are closing in that they're willing to call it. And even then they want control of how that's going to go down. And you often see people trying to control how they talk to the police, and it's their interviews play out in a very interesting back and forth because they're still trying to control the process. So it wouldn't surprise me to learn that Tom was trying to control the entire process still, even as the walls are crumbling in.
Right. That's still what I go to, but that doesn't, I'm not taking her as innocent, because then you do know and you decided to run as opposed to, and then you think what the other alternative is, she's just a gold digging whore who says I
did not say that.
I'm saying that, but like, is it that what, but you're losing, that it started to decline and I'm out
you
for money and I'm out. I'm not going to be poor.
That she was just, I mean, I think at the end of the day, Erika's going to take care of Erika. And she might have seen it starting to crumble with mental decline and with money issues and said, you know what, I'm not going down with this ship. If I'm going to rise above, not knowing all of what it was going to be, but if I'm going to bounce back from this, I have to go now. Yeah. It's interesting. Yes. It's a 20-year marriage. It's a very interesting thing to be like, oh, is this what it is? Because now we're starting to hear, now they're starting to fill in the backstory, but I don't know how. It's hard to believe all of it because the way that she's been outlining it this season has been very disjointed and very unbelievable.
And so to that, do you think she is using, I mean, she's clearly going to stay on the show. It's now what year? Like six. It's like, there's a salary now. It's not $60,000 to start or 120 for your second year. It's like 3, 4, 5 is probably where it is. I mean, so do you think she's using the show to like, here are the cameras, I'm going to create this narrative?
I can't imagine how you wouldn't do that but she's also trying to craft a narrative in real time because she doesn't have the benefit of hindsight of knowing how many other shoes are going to drop. I actually genuinely believe her when she said every day brings something new and I don't know what it's going to be. I think the volume of the bad definitely caught her by surprise. And you see her trying to figure out, are we sticking with Erika Jayne, or are we going to let Erika Jayne take a backseat and be Erika Chahoy and be like, look at my fucking life. Look at what is happening to me. I have nothing. But she's clearly in self-preservation mode. She cannot think of another person but herself. And she's like, what's going to happen to me? And she's pissed. She seems really angry in some of these scenes.
She seems really angry. I mean, do we blame her for saying, no, I just care about myself? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm preserving myself.
No, I mean, I don't blame her. I don't love it. Because you see absolutely no empathy for everyone else. I think it would be very easy, or would have been very easy, for her to say, you know, I'm learning that his clients were being told everything was fine all along. And that's what I was being told too. And I'm horrified to find how many ended up with nothing. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'll figure it out. I'm angry. I feel lied to. I feel betrayed. I can't imagine how his clients feel. They must also feel angry and lied to and betrayed. And I don't know why that was never said. And I don't know how hard that would be for her to have empathy if she was lied to by Tom. If she didn't know, how hard would it be to empathize with others who were in the exact same boat, you know?
Right. Who have it worse than you, ultimately.
Much. And when she's saying on the show, she said, I told my lawyers I expect to get nothing from this divorce. And they're like, oh, that's so brave. No, that's just the reality. When was that said? Was that said after the 2 bankruptcies were forced? I mean, that's a statement of facts that you're going to walk away with nothing.
Right. Like, you're getting nothing regardless.
She might get a lot more than she bargains for because she's a co-debtor on a lot of these debts. And you know that the IRS is looking into this. There's no way that they're not. So we already have seen in some of the bankruptcy filings that are taxes owed to the Franchise Tax Board in California. That's California's wing of their state tax authority. And I'm sure if there's money owed to the FTB, there's going to be money owed to the IRS, and to see how all of that plays out. She could end up with a lot more liability than she anticipates. And I'm sure that is the conversation she and her lawyers are having in these early stages of how bad is this going to be.